You have a history in rock and roll, and now you create meditation music.
I do. A big jump it was.
Yeah.
It happened around 1980. I'd been in a band, Flight X7, and we'd done quite well. But, you know, I was getting over 30, and the lifestyle didn't fit me anymore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just find out where I was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned to meditate and found a niche for a new music.
Right. So how do you go about composing meditation music?
Good question, Kath. What I found in meditation was when I was coming out of meditation, there was like a twilight zone right as you're coming out. And I found that I could stay in a meditative state but actually walk around and do things.
Okay.
But retain the meditative state. And
by that you mean a deep state of relaxation?
A deep state of relaxation, yeah. But I could still walk and play, and so I would have my synthesizer keyboard in front of me. I'd be meditating in front of it, and I just, as I was coming out, I'd start playing. And it was hands-on keys, and I had the ability to edit what I played, but I pretty much got it right. So, and that led me to realise that composers are actually channelers.
You mean that it comes to them from some other source?
Right, yeah.
Interesting, because a lot of people, you know, musicians will be in one state or another when they write, you know, so for example, some might need to take drugs or drink or meditate maybe. Yeah,
well, I think meditation's quite a new thing for musicians. I don't think, you know, music has kind of kept its distance from meditation in a way, because music has been about dance and getting into your body and movement, and whereas meditation is no movement and it's still getting into your body but in another way.
Yeah. So does your music help people meditate? Does it help them get into that relaxation state?
It does. Look, after probably about 15 years of writing meditation music, I realised that I needed to teach meditation because I'd learned so much about it myself. And people had this idea that if you meditate, you'd go dreamy in life and
achieve nothing.
Yeah, you achieve nothing, and why would you do it anyway? And then there were others who were too scared to sit down because their mind was so busy. All that happened when they sat down was they'd get this monkey brain going on, you know.
That's me. I am a monkey brain.
Yeah, but the music got over that. The music cut right through it, and so I realised that I needed to teach a style of meditation using the music. Yeah. And I did.
Because I guess it's a lot less confronting to sit and listen to music than to actually have complete stillness and silence.
Yeah, it is. It is for most people. Yeah. And I think that a lot of meditation was taught using a mantra, which was a sound, a word that you didn't know what it meant, but you recycled it in your head. Yeah. And you just said it over and over. But a lot of people had a problem with that because they had their thoughts going as well. Yeah. And they were being told, well, clear your mind and just have your mantra. Well, people can't clear their mind. Yes. You can't clear your mind. It's a reverse psychology. If you try to do it, it happens
more. It gets worse, doesn't it?
Whereas this meant that using music meant that people didn't have to do anything. They could just sit down. Providing the music was at the right level, they could use this music and they'd automatically go into a meditative state, no problem.
Interesting. Gosh, I could do with that.
Yeah.
Because we are all kind of busy and cluttered and full of, you know, stuff these days, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think that mental illness is a big thing today. And I did work with some mentally ill with the music, and it worked very, very well. But I didn't get to work with them for a long period of time. But at a lesser level, I guess, everybody has something mental going on within them, you know, some weird thing. And if they meditate, if people meditate, what they're doing is releasing that stress that's withheld in their head. Yeah. And the head, after a while, the mind begins to clear.
And it builds with practice, doesn't it? Each time you practice, it improves and improves.
Yeah, well, I recommend a daily meditation.
Yeah.
I still do a daily meditation. I sometimes personally do more.
Yeah. How long would you meditate for?
Well, I recommend for 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah. So most of my music is 20 minutes long.
Yes, that's brilliant, actually. Yeah. And then when the music stops, you know you're done.
Yeah, and the music is structured so that it helps a person to go into that state. And once they're in there, it keeps them there. Yeah. and then it lifts them out of it at the end.
Yeah.
So it does that job musically. And you know, it's also interesting that we live our lives in the world, in the outside world, in the material world. When you meditate, you double your life.
You double your life?
You double your life because you then open your inside world.
Yes.
The world within you,
yeah.
which most people have not explored.
Yeah, and it's easy to just bypass that, isn't it,
yeah.
in the pace of modern day living?
It is, and it's a tangible reality.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you meditate daily, your meditation tomorrow will take off from yesterday's. And that is the power of the music too. So if you're using a similar piece of music, yeah. Then you'll feel like, you know, if you're asking a question internally while you're meditating, because I do encourage people to contemplate during their meditation. Mm-hmm. It's about thinking too. Some people think, oh, you're not supposed to meditate, think while you meditate. And I say, no, you're allowed. Look, meditation is about flow. Just let your thoughts go. Be with your thoughts.
Yeah, and sometimes you can ask yourself a question in meditation and just your internal resources can resolve that, can't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the big thing, I think, that people find themselves and they find answers to the question they've been searching for their whole lives.
Yeah.
And suddenly they find it when they start meditating, well, within 6 weeks.
Wow, within 6 weeks?
Yeah,
well, that's good to know, because we're all very deadline driven. 6 weeks, you'll be okay, you know.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And when you say find yourself, I think to some people perhaps who aren't, you know, who haven't been on this journey or aren't very spiritual, they may say, find yourself. What does that even mean? What does it mean to you, Jeffree?
Well, to me, I guess it was that opens up another question. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, I used to hear music in my head, yeah. and it was around me, and I remembered it. And then when I got involved in rock and roll music later in my life, I forgot about all that. When I left rock and roll music and meditated,
it all came back
because meditation actually improves your memory retention.
Oh, interesting.
That's one of the things it does, because it clears the stress, and so you start remembering things again. Yeah. I started to remember this music, and much of the music I wrote was what I heard when I was 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
That's where a lot of the ideas...
It had been waiting all this time. Yeah. And you've enjoyed some fantastic success now, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've actually just signed an agreement with Sony Music International.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, for digital music. So I went to Melbourne to promote it worldwide, and I've done it.
Good
so
on you.
It's going out there. So that's what I'm really happy about.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's an awesome achievement.
Thank you. Just to go back and answer that question though, when I'm tapping into that music that I heard all that time ago, that's when I'm being me. And I think when in life I've had to do things to make money or to earn a living, or that's not being me.
Yeah.
So I think the difference between being yourself, not being yourself, is doing what you have to do is not being you. Doing what you love to do is being you.
Oh, that's good advice.
So if you're doing what you love to do, you're being you.
Yeah.
If you're not doing what you love to do, you're not being you.
That's fantastic advice.
And if you meditate, you'll get that pretty strongly within a couple of months of meditation, to get up and do what you came here to do.
Fantastic. Yeah. Wow, hey, that's great advice for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.